when I think about my childhood and growing up, I like Blue Rodeo was such an important part of, a transformative years for me, right? So now seeing this documentary, it's so nostalgic because it brings me back to those moments and those times. What was it like putting these pieces together?
Well, I think it was there's a lot to it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot, I think that the concerts like Bourbon North and the things that we did, those are kind of busting through the ether, but there was so much to go over with all of us to remember from 40 years ago.
Yeah.
And some of it was a little painful, and then some of it was just jubilant. I mean, obviously those Bourbon Street concerts were jubilant.
Yeah. When you think about Blue Rodeo, you think about your first kiss, your first dance, you think about obviously, first time you experiment, you try stuff, or just about your teenage years. When you think about the first time you guys met, what comes to mind?
Well, we were sort of adversarial when we first met. I got to tell a story.
Yes, please do.
We met on a football field. We were both, he played for the junior team, I was on the senior team at North Toronto Collegiate Institute, Yonge and Eglinton. And we were scrimmaging at the end of practice, and he had just thrown a pass, and I was on his blind side playing a defensive end, and I nailed him.
Is that true?
It was just...
Yeah, it's true.
Because in those days, I loved that activity.
Yeah.
I loved being
thug,
a jock, and I loved smashing people. So that's how we met. Yeah. And
that forms a very strong bond, don't you think?
Yes, I think so.
Then he's like, I will get back at that guy. It takes me 50 years.
Yeah.
We won't tell that story.
No, that's another time.
That's another time?
Yeah.
Maybe another documentary. How about that?
Could be all around.
There's a lot of love in the band. The first couple of songs every night, I feel this sort of wave of love.
We knew when we came back from New York, we knew what kind of band we wanted to be.
You dropped acid 20 times, lost 2 or 3 years to booze and looking good.
And you can still keep time, call Jim or Greg. Little did I know that I'd be playing with those guys for the rest of my life.
What does it feel like to have it here premiering at the Whistler Film Festival? Do you have a connection with Whistler?
We do have a very long time connection with Whistler. After high school, with 2 other guys, we bought an old school bus, turned it into a mobile home, and came out. It took us a long time to get out here because it broke down in Moosomin, Saskatchewan. So we worked the winter in the mountains. I was in Banff and he was in Lake Louise. Then we got the bus back and we came out here. So we were out here in the spring of 75. That was before there was Blackcomb and still skiing. I mean, we skied. So.
Oh yeah, we skied.
But
Did you climb up that day?
Yeah.
And do the back?
Yep. So in other words, we ended up in Blackcomb, but by going the back bowls of Whistler. And so we were here a long time ago, and we have those are very fond memories because they're sort of youthful, hallucinogenic, wild times.
You were telling the story earlier that there was a keg in Cleveland of this bar called The Boot, and we walked into this bar. There were a whole pile of us on the bus. There were probably
12 or something.
Yeah. We walked into this bar, and everybody was stoned on mescaline. Everybody. And then soon, all of us were stoned. And you told me.
Well, it was a funny thing because you don't really realize that there's a community. We'd been part of a mountain community, but that was more a working community. And I remember sitting in the bar and starting to feel the effects of the drug, and leaning forward, and a guy looked at me.
You did.
So
I love this place.
A lot of freaks here.
A lot of freaks here. Yeah. I'm surprised you remember it all with the amount of drugs that you were on.
No. Just took enough to go to the other side.
Yeah, for sure.
Their voices together create something beautiful. Their harmonies are gorgeous.
He had that voice the moment he started singing.
So we're playing the Rivoli to a full house, and we played Try.
The whole room levitated.
What do you think it is, though, about your music that just resonates so much with us in this country, and that you are our pride and joy and our gold, our royal music?
I think that we were very fortunate to come. We pursued a lot of music, and we were in New York for a couple of years, and then when we came back, it was at a time when there was a lot of elements that came together. First of all the universities had full-time programmers, and they programmed all the Canadian bands.
Yeah.
Secondly, there'd been, the Canadian content rules had really worked, and there was a lot of producers and people come here looking for Canadian music.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of good bands. And this is Tragically Hip. There was Katie Lang. There was Jeff Healey. There was tons and tons of music that young people got to know, and it just caused an explosion of music culture in this country. So
And we're still singing those lyrics today. Thank you so much. Congratulations on the documentary. We'll look for another documentary coming out about those younger years when you guys were playing football, right?
We have to do something about when we were athletes.
Yes, I love that. To be continued. Whistler 2025. There you go.